WWE is starting 2022 with the first pay-per-view of the year, appropriately titled Day One, coming to you this Saturday, January 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. It'll be on Peacock. To help me break it down, he is a good friend of ours joining me on the Vaqueros Caffeine Cantina hotline. He is the managing editor for WrestlingInc.com. He is Nick Hausman. Follow him on Twitter at Nick_Hausman. Nick, a newly engaged Nick Hausman. How are you, man?
I'm great, Stu. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, me and my girlfriend Liz, after 5 years, I finally popped the question. Many would say it came too late.
Well, hey, she said yes, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, good. Then, hey, it's better late than never, right? So, congratulations.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we get into the wrestling, it is sports guys talking wrestling. You've covered sports. I've covered sports. The news broke. We're recording this on Tuesday night, and the news broke just over an hour ago. The iconic broadcaster, legendary head coach, Pro Football Hall of Famer John Madden passing away at the age of 85. The cause of death unknown at this time. You can't. I've seen a lot of statements from football players and legends that basically say, if you say football, you think John Madden. And I watched him so many years, whether he was with Pat Summerall on CBS or on Fox or doing games on Monday Night Football on ABC or ESPN or NBC Sunday Night Football. Nick, you have a John Madden story to share. Go ahead and share it.
Well, first of all, I didn't know this news until we connected. Stu let me know. I found this out a couple minutes ago. Weirdly enough, I was back in California with my now fiance to visit her family over the holiday break, and I showed her a movie that I really liked that I thought we could kill time with in the hotel, called The Replacement, starring Keanu Reeves. And John Madden has a role in that film. He's like the broadcaster for all the football games, and there's a funny scene where Keanu Reeves goes in to kiss, the girl he winds up with, and they're doing Madden play-by-play commentary, like, Falco just he touchdown right when they do the kiss,
Right.
And I remember I just remember watching it, because I played a lot of Madden as a kid. Even that, like, he's a verb, right? I played a lot of Madden, you know. I remember sitting there thinking, like, just what kind of an iconic character he was or is, not just in football, but just in kind of pop culture. The fact he could show up in a movie and do something like that. And so it's not like I have a deep story thing, but it's very weird that you broke that news to me, because my fiance Liz loved The Replacement, and she loved that scene, and she thought that was great. And it was an immediate thing that came to mind when you told me that news. And he was a really cool, from what I gather, really, really, great guy. And sorry to hear that,
Yeah, I mean, as we said, legendary coach, coached the Raiders to winning Super Bowl 11, iconic broadcaster. I'll just share this statement from Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. On behalf of the entire NFL family, we extend our condolences to Virginia, Mike, Joe, and their families. We all know him as the Hall of Fame coach of the Oakland Raiders and broadcaster who worked for every major network, but more than anything, he was a devoted husband, father, and grandfather. So John Madden passed away at the age of 85. What a life. I mean, and as you said, his stamp on pop culture is as indelible as can be because of the Madden NFL video games. I mean, you always hear about the tournaments and the stuff, and it's because he lent his name to a video game so many years ago, and now it's whenever they debut the new edition, that's like there's lines coming, going around the block to get the newest Madden. So rest in peace to the legendary coach and broadcaster, John Madden. Let's switch gears to wrestling. We mentioned WWE Day One. Before we get to the pay-per-view, there's been a lot made of the COVID outbreak in WWE over the last several days. Monday Night Raw, it was very noticeable that they had to rewrite a lot of stuff. People pulled in Grayson Waller from NXT to do a segment with AJ Styles. You know, they were hot, and you had the phone videos, kind of like back in the Thunderdome era, where you had Big E and Seth Rollins and such doing the kind of the selfie video. What have you heard? What have the folks at Wrestling Inc. heard as far as how that is carried forward and what that could mean for Saturday's pay-per-view?
Well, I mean, by all accounts, or not by all accounts, at least by the Observer's account, you know, it sounds like nobody's going to be missing the pay-per-view on Saturday. And if anything, WWE is really taking precautions to make sure that their pay-per-view is able to go off without a hitch, without a COVID hitch, you know. This past weekend, you know, they took some names off of the house shows. Roman Reigns was a big one that was obviously missing. They just want to protect those talents and keep it back to make sure that the big matches at Day One are going to happen. I mean, you know, it sounds like, you know, the Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns stuff with Paul Heyman's going to roll into WrestleMania, and whatever is going to happen at Day One, it looks like is going to have a big part to play in whatever story they're telling as they roll into, you know, WrestleMania a few months later. So, you know, WWE is being, it would seem, very cautious in this situation, at least with their big money players. There was a report from Fightful that came out where WWE is not testing talent right now that I know really got a lot of people riled up, and myself included. Then you start to hear from, you know, the Observer newsletter, well, you know, CDC just shortened quarantine from 10 days to 5 days, and there's still testing involved if they're going to get into the ring. And so I'm not really sure what to make of that. I would be very, very surprised if WWE was, you know, hastily rolling back their COVID protocols right now. But it's a problem, obviously, right? Like, yeah. It's causing people to miss shows. It's causing them having to rewrite shows. And, you know, it's a very fluid situation. We'll see what happens between now and Saturday.
Well, and, you know, I guess if something like this was going to happen, you know, as much as you don't want to see it, for a week like now to happen where Raw was it, you know, you're not going to do SmackDown on Friday night. You're doing a best of, you know, the look back on 2021, and it's not even going to be on Fox. It's going to be on FS1. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, the wrestlers are pretty much done until Saturday. So I suppose that in a way it kind of works out, because you don't have to worry about a house show, you know, on Friday night or Thursday or whatever. You don't have to worry about this. You just, now you finish Raw, you go into Saturday, Day One, and there you go.
Well, I mean, that's definitely a silver lining look at it. You know, it's still, you know, a very unpredictable environment. You know, that's why this is a fluid situation. You know, we don't know if all these people have COVID, if they got exposed to people with COVID. Like, you know, again, there's a lot of unanswered questions around this. We do know COVID is involved. Seth Rollins appears to have confirmed it. He was positive for COVID with his COVID Christmas tweet. So, yeah, I mean, it's something where we don't know that it couldn't become worse at any given moment. And so that's why I say, like, yeah, maybe it was good on Tuesday. We'll see how Thursday flies, you know?
All right. Well, and
yeah.
It was reported that, you know, a lot of the names that were pulled from house shows and left, you know, stay home from Raw, it wasn't necessarily because they had COVID. It was simply just to protect them. So
sure.
You know, at least there's that. Let's look at the card. And of course, you just mentioned Roman and Brock. Now, it feels like, you know, and they've said this has been reported a lot, that this is going to be kind of the this is part one of a multi-part drama that's going to play out between now and probably WrestleMania. You add in, of course, Roman Reigns firing Paul Heyman. Am I the only one that feels like Heyman's going to screw Brock at day one?
You would think, that Heyman's going to get involved in this one way or another, and definitely firing Heyman for him to come back and only be a piece on the chessboard for Roman. Sure, but there's a lot of ways you could go with this, right? I mean, if you're really trying to get to WrestleMania, I don't think getting the belt off of Roman Reigns is a bad idea. I get hey, we want to Bruno Sammartino this guy. How do you beat the best thing in wrestling right now? But you got to keep Brock fresh, right? I mean, this is still Brock Lesnar, and a Roman Reigns without the title is a far more desperate and aggressive Roman Reigns. And we've all kind of, I feel like, gotten used to the tribal chief. There's a certain rhyme and rhythm, a cadence, if you will, to Roman Reigns' story at the moment. Maybe Paul Heyman coming back to realign with the Beast, or maybe Paul Heyman swerves everybody, doesn't get involved at all, and without Paul Heyman there, Roman Reigns loses the title, and maybe Roman has to go back to Paul. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could go with it.
Yeah, that's true. One thing, what just popped in my head. So Paul doesn't even show up for day one. We don't see him. It's Roman and Brock, and they find a way for Roman to go over, get to the Rumble, and then Paul shows up and aligns himself with Brock or something like that. We'll see. I mean, and it depends on whether they have an opponent lined up for Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble as to, I guess, how this plays out. You would think that's the story.
But look, day one, Roman loses the title. Royal Rumble, he enters the Rumble, murders 29 other people, calls out Brock Lesnar the next night. Yeah. That's a pretty clean story right there, and I think has a lot of meat to it. So I don't want to say that's for sure where they're going, but I mean, when I just sit there and I look at what's the most compelling thing, I like the ebb and flow of that.
Yeah, that sounds good. What does that do? Well, so let's say he drops the title to Brock. What does that do to his aura? Because he's been this impervious, unbeatable champion for the last 500 plus days. So, and you got him on the island of relevancy and with the Usos and everything. Roman drops the title to Brock. And yeah, look forward to Royal Rumble. But between now and then, does that hurt Roman in any way?
Well, in my opinion, no. I mean, Roman's pretty much there, right? Like, Roman's just about to go to Hollywood. And Brock Lesnar is still Brock Lesnar. And I think Roman's kind of past the point now of I hate to say wins and losses don't matter, but he's proved he's dominant, and it's about how if he does lose the title at day one, it's about how he loses the title. Does Paul Heyman screw him, right? Does Roman Reigns have to, blast not Roman, does Brock have to, blast Roman into the ref, and the ref goes down, and he's got to use a pipe to beat this man in the back of the head? I mean, how does he lose, right? For me, on the other side of the coin, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but a much more desperate, aggressive Roman Reigns, a change in tune. I don't know that you could do a heel face turn. I don't know if that works, but something different. I like Roman. I like where he's been, but I'm used to the cadence. I want something to break the rhythm right now for this guy.
Right. Yeah. We can't have a 4-year title reign like we saw with Hogan back in the 80s. So I get that. The Fatal 4-Way match: Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley. Every fiber of my being feels Big E's dropping the title, and it's kind of sad because he's had an okay title reign, but there hasn't been much to it, and it feels like they're ready to take it off him already, whether it's to Lashley or even to Seth or Kevin. is there a way Big E remains champion after day one?
Yes, Stu. I'll argue yes here. So I'm also torn. If it's not Big E, I think Kevin Owens has a good shot at taking this thing. He just re-signed, and you know what better bait to get somebody to re-sign than to say, hey, we're even title.
Yeah,
we're gonna put you back on top, Kev.
We'll
right?
make you the champ.
Yeah, we'll make you the champ. It's a time-honored way of getting people to re-sign their contracts in pro wrestling, you know? So that makes sense. But I don't think Kev or Seth or Bobby, for that matter, maybe it's just me looking at that from a personal perspective. What the writers and Vince think is something different. But I don't think any of those guys want to pull the rug out for Big E quite yet. And I think everybody kind of feels like his run hasn't been impactful quite yet. But a top babyface is only as good as a top heel.
Yeah.
And they have done Big E no favors as far as it comes to top heel opponents. And now we're in this muddled situation, you know, where there's like all these people that are in this space, and it just, again, doesn't click. What I would hope if Big E retains here is that Miz goes over on Edge, and you have a hot, fresh, fire Miz that Big E can tango with on the other side of this fatal four-way. You take Big E out strong in the fatal four-way. You have Miz go over Edge, big and strong. He makes his case. You know, maybe that's your Rumble belt right there. Because if anybody could baby Big E in a way where it makes him feel bigger and bring some fire out of him, I think Miz going in on Big E right now, I think people would be there for it. And I think they know that they'd be there for that.
Yeah, I kind of like that myself. I mean, I think we've heard the scuttlebutt over the last 24, 48 hours that if you look, say, at betting odds, right now, it's looking like no titles change hands. If let's say Big E does go over, let's say Miz goes over on Edge, are we talking Miz and Big E at the Rumble?
I would think so. Yeah, for sure. I think that's your Rumble bout, right?
Right. Of course, that means you also now you got to set up a WrestleMania opponent. I guess, you know, I suppose you could have Miz beat Big E at the Rumble and then have the rematch. Although that seems kind of weak for Mania.
Look, but that's the thing, is like, you know, most people, when they get a run like this, get a meaningful program with somebody, right? And they go over on that somebody, and then they can lose. Big E hasn't had that kind of meaningful program yet. I think Miz could usher him through that, get him over, and set Big E up for a loss. Maybe at Mania, maybe in one of them in-between pay-per-views to set up a triple threat. But, like, I think Big E, everybody knows he deserves a top program. He hasn't got it yet. I don't think there's anybody else on the heel side of Raw that could touch Big E other than a fresh Miz off of a win over, or fresh Miz off a win over over Edge.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Looking at, I mean, you got, let's see, 1, 2, 7 matches total, 5 of them title matches.
Yeah.
The Becky Lynch Liv Morgan thing feels like it's another rematch that's going to see Liv lose, and big time Becks will just continue on.
They really blew it not giving Liv that title on Raw, in my opinion. I mean, he had a chance to make somebody, you know, and Becky could have taken this title back at day one. I don't think that would have hurt, you know, her at all to have this kind of momentary blip. Charlotte's done that dozen times in her career, you know. I hope Liv wins. They need people to be at Becky and Charlotte's level right now, and it's a Britt Baker problem. Like, it's over at AEW too, right? Like, you got your 1 or 2 women you kind of build around, but everybody else is kind of floating out there. You know, how do you build a division of killers where a lot of people have credibility and seem believable? You gotta put some wins up eventually, and I think Liv I think she deserves and can hang and should get the win here. I would hope, at least.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's I would love to see it if for no other reason, just to shake it up, let Bex chase a little bit. The other thing, and it's been talked about since she came back at SummerSlam, Becky is a heel. It's the crowd is not accepting it. They're cheering her. They boo her sometimes, but it's mostly a positive reaction. Out of left field, you were talking about a kind of the heel baby turn. Could we see that in this match?
No. I don't think so. I no. That the problem with Becky as a heel is not that she's a bad heel. I actually think she's probably finally hitting her stride as a heel. The problem was they put her with Charlotte, and Charlotte wanted to create this drama, and like whether or not it was a work shoot or a work or a shoot or whatever it was that was going on, it babied the F out of Becky.
Right.
No doubt about it. At a time when Becky was desperately trying to be a heel, and it messed up her mojo, right?
It did.
So
it really did.
It just messed with it, right? And so Becky walked out of that emotional, really babied, I think, after that Survivor Series match with Charlotte. And this program with Liv has given her a chance to get back in that groove. No, I think that I don't think we'll be seeing a double turn here. I think Becky wants to get back to being a heel. I think they want Becky to be a heel, and win or lose, there will be heelish antics from Becky Lynch following this bout.
Right. Yeah, I get you. Switching gears a bit to AEW. So this past Friday on Rampage, Cody Rhodes defeats Sammy Guevara, wins his third TNT championship. All right. And I guess I should step back a little bit from that, and maybe you can explain this, because I'm trying to figure it out, and I will admit I don't kind of get in the weeds a little bit so much with this. Why are fans booing Cody? Because it's not like I see him doing overtly heel stuff. AEW, it is, there isn't the absolute white meat baby face or a, black-hearted heel. They're baby faces and heels, but they're not totally, pure. But I haven't seen anything from Cody to say, okay, boo this guy. What am I missing?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think there's what could be interpreted as smugness when Cody acts confident.
Okay.
About his successes, and that's like a visceral human thing. I think that it is understated the effect that the polarization of politics in this country has gotten. Cody is in what is presented to be a very progressive organization that advocates LGBTQ and pushing occasionally people of color. But they're very accepting of people like John Moxley who are making decisions to better themselves. But then he comes out, and everybody points to that promo, and it was like a centerpiece on their Roads to the Top show or whatever, where Cody's like, my wife is black and we had a child in Georgia and we've moved on. And, I think the implication there was that racism was done. Then we go to, Minneapolis, where we're at Full Gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after Cody takes off the red, white, and blue, his actual gear was just blue, black, and white, and looked to me like Blue Lives Matter gear,
right?
Which is a very big statement to make,
okay,
in a city like that,
right?
And so I think the thing that nobody wants to say is that Cody's politics and the way he has presented himself as if I am how dare you boo me? Only invokes, kind of anger. And I think to his, I don't think he doesn't know that. I think he does know that. I think Cody is playing like 3 or 4 dimensional chess at this point. He's like Vince. He got all this stuff from Vince and Hunter. They all do these weird things where they're trying to say a million things at one time and super layer their work and all this whatever. I will say this about Cody. He is easily one of the most compelling characters in pro wrestling to watch going into 2022. I'm fascinated. I'm on the hook, but like, I think that Cody, the unsaid thing here is like the way Cody talks and presents himself and the things he said in very delicate situations, I think have really irked some people. And I think that that's a bigger segment than people want to acknowledge right now.
Okay. And now that you've explained it to me, I think I can see it now. I mean, and even here in the last few weeks, watching Cody on TV and seeing like in Greensboro, him with David Crockett and everything, and having Dustin coming down to help him out and stuff. I've gone from the whole confused about why they're booing him to kind of like, okay, well, let me just watch and see what happens. And like you, I am absolutely, bought into seeing what Cody Rhodes looks like in 2022, what he does. It was, and you mentioned like the promo, I think that was leading up to it was in July about the baby and all that good stuff and some of the other things. He's got the very, if anybody watches The Boys on Prime Video, he's got the very Homelander looking gear. Like you said, he totally knows what he's doing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that's the thing is like, for everybody to have to sit around and pretend like we don't get it, right? Like, why is Cody getting booed? Like, we all know why Cody's getting booed. Cody's doing things to intentionally irk people and then look in their face and be like, why are you pissed off? Like, who doesn't hate that guy at the bar? You know, like smoking a cigarette right next to you in the no smoking section. It's like, dude, you're the problem, so.
Exactly. Kyle O'Reilly made his debut. He is now All Elite. Now we've got the Undisputed Click, I guess we call it.
I like that. That's awesome.
I mean, hey, because you got Bobby, you got Kyle, you got Adam Cole, and now we may see, we're starting to see this maybe a difference of philosophy, opinion, whatever, between them and the Bucks. Does this lead to a Young Bucks face turn?
I already know where this is going. And I kind of like that.
Yeah. I'm there with you.
Man, is Adam Cole that kind of mean girl that's just like willing to jump from one click to another? I guess, right? Like, I like that Adam Cole is a complicated character.
Yes.
CM Punk and Bryan Danielson kind of came in and immediately like assumed their lanes, right? Like, I'm doing this. Punk's like, I just want to work with young guys and not have real programs. Bryan's like, I want to be in the main event and have great matches. Adam Cole's come in and just kind of been like, what's going on here? Yeah. And I like that, right? Like, oh, a couple of my old friends want to come. Oh, that's cool. You guys are my new, like, it's relatable. Like, who hasn't been through stuff like that? Like, are the Bucks going to be baby? I don't know, man. But I like that. Like, I like not knowing what's going to happen with this like kind of group of people around Adam Cole. I think it's great.
It is. I'm enjoying watching it. It's just, you kind of wonder, and you got to think that eventually, if they do square up against each other, you got to believe the crowd. Well, I say you do, but I guess they could go either way as well. They just want to see a good fight, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
And it's all kind of funny because everybody's thinking of Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish from NXT, Undisputed Era. But let's not forget, all 5 of them worked together in Ring of Honor and New Japan, and Kyle and Adam were tag partners, and they were rivals, and Kyle and Bobby were tag partners, and Kyle's been a single, and of course the Bucks, and he was Bucks and Red Dragon, and I mean there's so many trails prior to NXT where this could go down, and I'm all for it as well. They have announced that I believe it's the first Dynamite of January when they make the move to TBS. It's Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson part 2. They're going to be judges involved. And I'm all for it. I want to see where it goes. But just for the sake of trying to book it and trying to figure it out, it still feels like Danielson could come up with the title, but I don't know for sure.
I mean, I love Hangman Page. I think Adam's, great wrestler. I don't really know him as much as a human, but, as a fellow anxious millennial cowboy, he's certainly a character that resonates with me. With that said, Bryan Danielson should be your AEW champion right now.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson is a bigger star. Bryan Danielson could go on the Today Show or throw out a first pitch at a Yankees game. Bryan Danielson is going to sell you a lot of merchandise. Bryan Danielson is going to have a lot of great matches for you. And, maybe having the shortest reign in AEW history is not a bad thing for Adam Page.
It kind of fits into the story.
It does. In a lot of ways, it does. I hope Bryan takes this title. I thought he should have taken it off Page in the first match. I get why they went to the 60-minute draw. Sets up this great business. No problems. But Page is champion. I don't know, man. Like, for my money, there's just not a lot of big money matches there. There's a lot of big money matches than a Bryan Danielson as AEW champion right now.
Do you think that's why they haven't had Page wrestling, whether it's on Dynamite or Rampage? I don't think he's had but maybe 1 or 2 matches since he won the title.
Well, you want to protect your champion. You don't want him to be defending. You don't want him you don't want him to, they did this with Omega too. I don't think Page is being booked I don't think he's being booked really that much differently than Kenny Omega was in regards to frequency of title defense.
Okay. Yeah. I see your point. It feels like we haven't seen him in the ring outside of the one match with Bryan Danielson, but
he's not a present. He's got the Big E problem, man. He's not a present top baby face champion, and you gotta have a certain spark. And I'm not saying these guys don't have it, right? But sometimes when you get, you go from level 2 to level 3, you're not immediately ready for level 3. Sometimes you got to acclimate to level 3. It takes some people a little bit longer to spend time in level 3 before they're there. Maybe a little bit of Big E syndrome with Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Or Adam Page. Sorry.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, you're right. I would, I get, if I were going to compare the two, I think Big E might be a little bit further up the totem pole in WWE than Adam Page is in AEW.
I agree. But that's the thing. It's I agree. And that's why I say Bryan Danielson should be your champion. If it was Bryan Danielson, Big E, we'd have a different conversation right now. But Adam Page, untested in this position, which isn't necessarily bad, but he also hasn't been on TV for a long time, right? He left for a while to go on, paternity leave, which is great. And I think that's wonderful and everything like that. But they brought it back and immediately went back to the plan. And I don't know if like I said before, a top babyface champion is only as good as the top heel they're working with. And the top heel he's working with right now, I don't know. You can't outclass Bryan Danielson. He's doing the best work of his career right now,
Yeah, I believe it. Real quick, TBS title. I mean, Jade Cargill. This is Jade Cargill's title, right? I mean, as much as I enjoy Ruby Soho, they seem like they're putting Jade Cargill kind of in that position as the bright, shiny new, person in the women's division, and feels like they're going to put the title on her.
Yeah. Here, I'm looking this up real fast so I can find it. Let me see. There was all right, here we go. This is not my website. Let me see if I can get this right fast. But Jade Cargill. All right. So here's the list of the 20. I'm pulling this up. Nobody can see this if you're listening. I don't know if there's going to be a watching version of this. But there are 20 wrestlers. There's a list of 20 wrestlers who had the highest Instagram growth in 2020 or 2021. Okay. Roman Reigns is number one by a mile, 1.65 million new Instagram followers. Eva Marie, number two, 584,000, more than a million away. All right. Down at number 15 is Jade Cargill, 219,104 Instagram followers. Let me go up this list here real fast. That's right. Nobody else in AEW ranks higher than her on this list. In fact, the only other person on the highest Instagram growth list is Ty Conti. I saw that the other day, and it just blew me away, right? Like, the fact that 18 of those 20 spots are A, occupied by WWE superstars, but right. B, the only two from AEW are women in a company where the fan base seems to complain that they're not doing enough about the women. Two women, Ty Conti, Jade Cargill, right?
Right.
So I look at that and I go, well, she's the top Instagram draw in all of AEW, obviously, for the entire year.
Absolutely.
She got more followers than everybody. She should be the TNT or the TBS champion. Absolutely. Is she ready in ring wise? We'll find out. Thunder Rosa may be better in that role. But from a fan penetration standpoint, she's your money. You know, that's who I'd go with.
Yeah, I think you're right. He is Nick Hausman. Follow him on Twitter at Nick_Hausman. Read all of his stuff and WrestlingInc.com. Catch his podcast. Does a fantastic job. Nick, as always, it's a pleasure to see you. Pleasure to talk to you. Are you going to be at the either Impact or MLW shows in Dallas in January?
I will not. I'm going to the Rumble. I'll be at AEW Revolution, and then I'll likely see you in Dallas for WrestleMania.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Well, when we see each other, we'll have to break bread and maybe have a cocktail or two. So until then, though, there you go. Have a great rest of your week. Happy New Year, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Stu.